morning.
Good morning and welcome to MediaPulse, the show where we help you make sense of Thai politics. And this morning we're talking about a miracle that didn't happen.
Okay. Now, in the end, there is no such thing as miracle as far as the Tak Bai massacre case is concerned.
Which is very sad because remember Justice Minister Thawee Sot-Song said last week that he was still hoping for a miracle, but
He was talking in the sense that some of the suspects or defendants in the case would, at the last minute, turn themselves in to face the justice. But nothing of that sort happened at all. So no miracle materialized.
no. And this has been the case that has haunted successive Thai governments for 2 decades now, and it's legally buried.
That means that the case is legally closed. And it means that after years of outcry for justice, not a single person will be held accountable for the death of 85 people in what would go down in history as one of the most violent incidents in southern Thailand.
And the statute of limitations is just expired on Friday.
That's right, that's right. In fact, 7 defendants have been issued with arrest warrants. But by midnight, Friday, as you mentioned, none was apprehended. None of them turned up or gave themselves in.
And there was especially General Pisan Watanawongkiri, the commander of the regional army units at the time. So the incident happened on October 25th, 2004.
That's right.
Yep.
What authorities told us is that all the suspects have fled the country. Kun Pisan, the prime suspect, when he was still an MP, he asked for sick leave and is understood to be recuperating from some unspecified illnesses in England. I mean, but that cannot be confirmed.
So let's do a little recap of the incident 20 years ago. So on the 25th of October 2004, 7 people were killed when security forces dispersed a rally in front of the police station in Tak Bai district of Narathiwat province. And another 78 protesters died of asphyxiation while being transported on army trucks to an army unit in neighboring Pattani province. So a total of 85 people died.
That's right. And talking about General Pisan, the prime suspect, until 2 weeks ago, he was still an MP of the ruling Pheu Thai party before deciding to resign. Executives of the party said they have no idea as to his whereabouts, and they didn't bother to offer an explanation as to how the former general submitted his resignation, either by was it hand delivered, or was it mailed in to the party headquarters?
That's interesting because he's on sick leave overseas, so maybe express mail of some sort. I don't know.
Now we mentioned about how the Justice Minister Kun Thawee Sot-Song talk about miracle, right?
Yeah, we do have this headline actually from Matichon, and it says Thawee is still hoping for a miracle to get defendants in Tak Bai case to appear in court, and he confirms all concerned are working on the case. This was before the case expired.
No, but we knew from the start that that was his own wishful thinking, or his own way of evading reporters' questions concerning the case. He was referring particularly to General Pisan.
Yeah.
But would it make sense that after 20 years, these people, the suspects, including Kun Pisan, would suddenly change their mind and give themselves up, knowing full well that if they waited a few more days longer, they would be free?
Exactly.
I mean,
why would they turn up now? Exactly. So, but actually a flurry of activities did happen last week by human rights groups, activists as well as academics in southern Thailand, and they were trying to discuss the looming expiry of the case. In one forum, there were representatives of over 40 non-governmental organizations who unveiled an open letter urging the Prime Minister to track down the 7 defendants on the case.
But there has been no response in this regard from the government. There was also a suggestion last week that the case could be referred to the International Criminal Court. Thailand is a signatory of the so-called Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, but has yet to ratify it. So this is just a suggestion from some of the NGOs that if the case cannot be pursued locally, then this should be considered having it referred to the International Criminal Court.
And some people actually offered another alternatives as well. So there was a suggestion that to prove that the government was sincere on pursuing the case, they should consider issuing a special royal decree to extend the statute of limitations.
But only one day before the expiry of the statute of limitations, Prime Minister Pheu Thai addressed the issue formally at length for the first time. And she shot down the idea of having the government issue a royal decree to extend the expiry of the statute of limitations of the case. And she referred to a recommendation by the Council of State, which said that such action is not legally possible because it would be seen as giving the case a preferential treatment, which is against the Constitution.
And she said it's not an emergency, that's why. But she did apologize. She did apologize on behalf of her government to the families of those who were victims of the incident. And it was actually the first time she officially addressed the issue.
That's true. I mean, the pressure has particularly been on her and Pheu Thai because of the fact that the incident happened while her father was in power. But Kun Thaksin, her father, has never admitted he was at fault at all, even though that the massacre happened on his watch. Now, in a video clip a few years ago, Thaksin addressed the issue, claiming that the incident was part of a conspiracy among some elements in the military which were trying to undermine his administration. And he said, I was playing golf when I received a report of the unrest at the Tak Bai district.
So he was blaming someone else, but without naming names. Thaksin said that the man who should be held responsible for what happened in Tak Bai was the army commander-in-chief of the time. So it was...
And back then it was quite clear that it was a General Pavit Wongsuwan, who is now leader of Palang Pracharat Party, the main opposition party, that was in charge of the army as the army chief. So Thaksin was hinting that if you want to fault anyone for the incident, then ask General Pavit about it.
Yeah. But anyway, the case is now legally dead. So what will happen next?
I think if you talk to the people who are experts in the affairs of the South, they are quite worried, they're quite concerned. And some come up with grim prediction about possible aggravation of the situation, predicting more violent acts down the road.
Yeah, well, we do see a precursor of it because in the past 1 week, security forces have been put on high alert in anticipation of escalating violence. And on Thursday, a bomb hidden in a pickup truck went off in front of the police station of Pattani province, and the explosion caused serious damage to nearby buildings, as you can see in the footage, but no casualties.
Meanwhile, the Interior Minister, Kun Anutin Chanvirakul, seems to have his own idea of how to prevent the situation in the South from aggravating.
Yeah, we have this headline from Matishon actually. He says, a quote from an article says, I would like to ask everyone to look towards the future, reduce violence, because the country is progressing well.
You see, he was simply asking people to forgive anyone who is accused of being involved in the incident. It wasn't immediately clear what he really means by that. But our understanding, if our understanding is correct, Anutin is trying to tell the families of those who died in the incident to forgive whoever was responsible for what happened. And he believed that that is the only way the conflict in southern Thailand can be resolved.
That's going to be difficult for a lot of the families who have suffered. I mean, if he goes down to the south and say that to those families of the victims, then I doubt if it can be forgiven. But
so one important question at this juncture is, what will the government do from this point on after the case is considered legally closed? The clearest answer seems to have come from Defense Minister Kun Phumtham Thepchai when he was asked by journalists on Thursday as to what the government plans to do to make sure that the situation in the south will be contained and not allowing the closing of the case to ignite another round of violence. And this is what he said. He said, Thailand is a country of rule of law, and what is over is over. And then he added that the government doesn't rejoice in what happens, but the Tak Bai massacre case is like any other legal cases. Once it's over, it's over.
Yeah, that's his approach. Yeah, but I think it's going to continue to be a pressing issue for the government still towards the future, although the case is closed. But yeah.
No, we have to admit that the violence in southern Thailand is not something new. It has been around for decades. But it was the Tak Bai incident that people believe that will ignite a new round of violence because people have been demanding justice. But they don't seem to be getting what they want.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to another pressing issue in Thai politics this week. And we're talking about the parliamentary debate on whether or not to accept the report. I repeat, it's a report on a study to draft the amnesty bill. Of course, if it's accepted, I mean, this report, it will be used as a possible basis to draft the amnesty bill later on.
This has been a very contentious issue among the coalition partners.
Yeah, exactly. And there are voting results from Thursday on observations or the appendix on drafting the amnesty bill, which is not the law itself. And it did not pass, but the report itself will be forwarded to the cabinet. And the most contentious point is undeniably whether or not to include those who violate Article 112 on the list.
There are now hundreds of cases involving the people accused of violating the so-called less majestic law, Article 112. And of course, there are people who believe that these suspects, defendants, have been treated unfairly. And because some of the charges against them were politically motivated.
Yeah, that phrase. So the core purpose of this proposal to draft the amnesty law is to absolve those who committed wrongdoings as a result of political motivations. So who will benefit from the law? So if passed, this will include the likes of the PAD, People's Alliance for Democracy, or the Yellow Shirts, as well as the United Front of Democracy Against Dictatorship, or the Red Shirts, as well as the Democratic Alliance Against Dictatorship and the likes, as well as the Student Protester and Gopopasaw and all the rest of it.
No, the very idea of this proposed law on amnesty is designed to help the country move forward politically and bringing about possible political reconciliation among all these warring or conflicting parties.
Like finding a common ground to move on or something.
But it has turned out to be very contentious.
Article 112 says any person found guilty of defaming, insulting or threatening the king, the queen, the heir apparent or the regent shall be subject to a penalty of imprisonment from 3 to 15 years.
I see. Now the party which has been most vocal in opposing the proposed bill is the Palang Pracharat Party, one of the main opposition parties led by General Pravit Wongsuwan, who believe that absolving violations of Article 112 will affect the efforts to protect the monarchy.
Yes, in the headline by Thai Post, we have this one. It says, General Pravit orders Palang Pracharat MPs to reject the amnesty report, citing absolving violations of Article 112 will affect the efforts to protect the institution. So I'm going to quote Phaiboon Nititawan from Palang Pracharat Party as well. So he says, acquitting those who violate Article 112 can be interpreted as nullifying the article altogether, and any future violations of Article 112 may be deemed as legal. That's the question that he raised. Therefore, including Article 112 is a no-no for Palang Pracharat Party.
But of course, the opposition party, especially the now defunct Move Forward Party, which is now known as the People's Party, has a different idea.
So Kun Chaithawat Tulathon, the former leader of the now defunct Move Forward Party, he said something about this. He said, in this report in the Daily News, it said it will help revive good relations between the people and the monarchy.
So after some heated debate in the House on Thursday, the MPs voted against including the appendix, which deals with the Article 112. Voted down the appendix, but they accepted the general report of the study that would lead to that would form the basis of a possible basis of a bill on amnesty.
Yeah, and it remains to be seen how this will turn out, because if they're voting, if there is a bill, if they're voting, then there will be the issue of Article 112, whether or not to include it, and that's to accept, to reject, or to accept with conditions.
Okay, and we suppose that this issue was one of the topics raised over dinner among leaders of the coalition parties, right?
Yeah, so there was a dinner.
It was a much anticipated dinner among these coalition partners.
Yeah, and on the headline it says, this one says from Prachachat, says, happy moments. Happy moments. PM has
a rare happy moment.
Rare happy moments. PM has the dinner for coalition parties for the first time, and all eyes on hot political issues. So hot political issues we're referring to two issues. One is whether or not to include Article 112 in the report, and there's the party dissolution case, which the EC or Election Commission has agreed to consider. Yeah. So why another dissolution case again?
Okay. And Thaksin has been brought back to the center of the whole thing again. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So the accusation this time is on the Pheu Thai party, and it's asking the question if Thaksin Shinawatra has any influence on the party and other 6 political parties.
Because it would be against the law, for a political party to allow outsider who is not a member of the party to exert influence over its decisions. So according to the charges against Pheu Thai party, Thaksin has been, exerting a lot of influence over many of the party's decisions.
Yeah, I've actually compiled a list of 6 accusations so far. So let's take a look at the 6 accusations about dominating political parties. So the first one is using the Pheu Thai party to manage state affairs, and for his political advantage as well. This also includes him staying on the 14th floor of the police hospital without serving a day in prison.
Okay.
And then there's another accusation about colluding with Somdet Hun Sen of Cambodia on taking advantage of Thailand's maritime rights. And the third one, ordering the Pheu Thai party to cooperate with the People's Party to amend the constitution. Number 4, negotiating with political party leaders to nominate a PM on August 14. Remember, there was this dinner talk at his place.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
And he was the host.
Yes, and actually it wasn't Pat Tong Tan who was tipped to become the next Prime Minister after Seth Thaksin. Okay, number 5, ordering the Pheu Thai party to exclude Palang Pracharat party from the coalition government. And number 6, ordering Pheu Thai party to implement the policies that he proposed on stage at the event on August 22nd.
Okay, so these are just preliminary charges against
Thaksin,
and they need to be proven. The charges have been filed with the Constitutional Court and the Election Commission. So the process in investigating all these charges will be time consuming, so don't expect anything
Yeah,
concrete
it's going to be a long one,
to
isn't it?
be concluded in the near future.
Because initially it says they're given 30 days to investigate, but if it's not finished, then they could apply for another extension after extensions, and then it could go on until it's finished.
All right. All right, then besides politics, the scandal involving the iCon group,
Yes.
the much publicized online direct sales business, continue to make headlines in the past 1 week. Right?
Yeah, and we're talking about angels as well.
But that is one of the biggest puzzles,
Yep.
and it still needs to be resolved. So the question is, who are the so-called angels that helped the business thrive over the years?
So the Thai media has been speculating that these are people in high places with political power and business clout who helped the iCon group escape scrutiny and harassments by authorities.
Now, as we are talking, as many as 1,700 people have filed complaints against the business group, claiming damages totaling over 2.7 billion baht. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
And the numbers of complainants are expected to rise over the next few days.
2.7 billion baht. That's even more than the whole budget, the whole year, the annual budget of Thai PBS.
And these people
A
have
lot.
a similar story to tell.
Yep.
They said they were lured to pay to become members of the business group with promises of a lucrative return. But most of them ended up with stockpiles of products that they could not sell.
Yeah, the business model borders on becoming a pyramid money game of some sort. So 17 people involved in running the business, who include companies' executives and celebrities, that's why this case is very publicized because it involves a lot of celebrities, are being held on charges of public fraud and uploading false information onto the computer system.
So even though the investigators are just a step away from treating the case as a pyramid money games, they have yet to file any charges related to the issue of being a pyramid money game against the suspects. But one charge against them is money laundering.
Yeah.
And that's why the Department of Special Investigation, the Thai version of FBI, has stepped in to investigate this particular charge.
Right. So some well-known figures have been taken into custody, but the question is whether the police investigations will widen the dragnet to include the people who the media believe to be in real power behind the games, or so-called the angels.
Yeah, now we have been hearing the word angels in the Thai media used to describe the people alleged to have provided the business group with some kind of protection. But over the past 1 week, a new phrase has emerged.
Right.
Now there is this so-called angel or angels of the forest house.
So we have angels that live in the forest.
Yeah, forest house, it has to be more specific.
Oh, okay, a forest house, a house in the forest.
So what is a forest house? The term is used by the Thai media to refer to a once powerful political faction associated with General Pravit Wongsuwan and other former army generals. And they often use headquarters of a forestation project they initiated for meetings and other activities. And that's how they come to be referred to as forest house.
I see, but we need to emphasize that there is no evidence so far linking any one of them to the scandal. It's just speculation at this point.
That's right, that's right. The speculation has been fueled by the leaks of audio clips alleged to be from phone conversations between a top executive of the iCon group,
Yep.
who is now in police custody, and a number of people. And the media reported that investigators have been going through dozens of these clips to find out who else are involved in this whole, dubious operation.
And those at the other end of the phone line reportedly include some high-profile public and political figures. I mean, if you judge from the conversation, it's sort of like suggesting that if you pay me more money, I can look after you, that sort of thing. and it reportedly targeted in the ongoing investigation is a well-known figure in Palang Pracharat, the opposition party, right?
In fact, he has been all over the news now. There's no secret about who this person is. Of course, he has come out to repeatedly deny any involvement in this business. And the person in question is also reported to be very close to the party leader, General Pravit. And as we just mentioned, that he denied all involvement with the business group.
Yeah. Well, the police investigators have vowed to go to the bottom of the scandal. And even the so-called angel or angels will not be spared. That's what the police is saying.
So we can expect the iCon group saga to continue to unfold in the following weeks. But we are not quite sure whether the angels on the shoulders of those involved will ever be unmasked.
Yeah, it's an interesting term, isn't it? And so far, I don't think the Prime Minister or the government has really say anything about it seriously. I mean, she talked about it.
No, she did make some comments about it, but effectively she was saying that the whole thing should be handled by the police investigators.
Which is very broad. But anyway, speaking of the Prime Minister, November is going to be a very busy month for her because she's going to travel to Kunming, China, for the meeting on the Mekong region countries, as well as she's going to Lima, Peru for the APEC summit. And this weekend she will be in Chiang Rai.
Hopefully when she returns from these trips, she will be able to tell us, the journalists, what was discussed in her meetings with all the leaders that she met. Because remember when she was in Laos, right, a few weeks ago, attending the ASEAN summit and related meetings. But when she came back and she was confronted by reporters who asked her about what was discussed with all those leaders, she said, I am very tired.
Do you know what? She met Blinken, right? And in one of the conversations, this was on the internet, she talked about the floods in the northern part of Thailand with Blinken, and apparently the Secretary of State wasn't sure.
She must have met almost a dozen leaders during her trip to Laos, okay? Because beside the ASEAN summit meetings, there were other sidelines meetings, related meetings. And of course we expected her to, when she came back, and she would talk about the substance of the discussion she had with all these leaders. But not a single word from her about the meetings.
Okay, that's interesting. So hopefully there'll be more developments from the meetings she's attending in November. But anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. We have another show in Thai talking about international issues. So we'll see you tomorrow.
See you
Bye-bye.
then. Thank you.